All right, guys, let's take a look at converting fractions to decimals. You know how I do love a good fraction. Really, those decimals. If you remember back at the beginning of the year when we cut those, gosh, I think it was Oliver and Lucas D in the afternoon, and we looked at cutting those guys into tenths and hundreds, and oh, I have visual of it. Look at that, Oliver. He's so happy as I dice him up into little pieces. Ah, good days, good times. Just a little reminiscing here. Well, let's take a look at some of the work after we slice those guys up. Picture this as Oliver. From 0 to 1 whole. That's 1 whole Oliver. And I chopped him into, check it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. He's cut into tenths. And that's my denominator. Your job is to find 3 tenths on this number line. It's as simple as selecting 3 tenths. So you'll see the fraction and the equivalent decimal. Same idea, but 7 tenths. I still have Oliver or Lucas cut into 10 equal pieces, and I have to figure out where 7 tenths as a fraction, what that would look like as a decimal. Here we go. All right, this one I really like because now they're asking for a mixed number. So that would be like 6 whole Olivers and 5 tenths of him. So that's a lot of Olivers. So 6 whole is right here, 7 whole is right here. 6 and 5 tenths would be right here. Notice that you have the whole number in front of the decimal, just like you have the whole number written here. And 5 tenths, 5 in the tenths place, 5 tenths. These are equivalent, mixed number and a decimal. All right, now we're going to cut them all the way into hundreds, and that's when it got really, really messy. We cut them into tenths and then hundreds. So take a look at this, 7 tenths all the way to 8 tenths. Now I could call this 70 hundredths and 80 hundredths. They mean the same thing. They're equivalent. I've got to find 74 hundredths, and that would be right here. And 47 hundredths, same idea. 40 hundredths, 50 hundredths, 47 hundredths would be right here. All right, let's take a look at this and think of it as money. 9 whole and 48 hundredths. If you had 9 whole dollars, you would have $9 and 48 cents. 48 is in the hundreds, and here's your whole number. So 9 whole, 9 ones, 48 hundredths, 48 in the hundreds. And all you would have to do is select here. Now they're going to give you fractions. You have to type in the decimal. So if I cut Lucas into tenths and I had 1 of those, I would have not a whole Lucas, and I would have 1 in the tenths place. So that's the equivalent decimal to that fraction. Here is 67 hundredths. It's not a whole number. It's less than that. And there's 67 in the hundredths place. 6 in the tenths, 7 in the hundredths. 67 hundredths. This one's a little tricky. This throws a lot of people. It's not a whole. There's 0 in the tenths. Notice there's no number in front of the 7 in the tens place. That means there's nothing in this tenths place. The 7 is in the hundreds place. Think of it as money. This would be 7 pennies out of $1, 7 cents out of a whole dollar. Here's a mixed number. We've got to write as a decimal. So 5 whole, there's my whole number, it's in the ones place. And here's my decimal to show that it's a fraction, 83 hundredths. So think of it as $5.83 out of 100 cents. All right, here's one with tenths, 2 whole and 9 tenths. And one last one, again, pretty tricky because there's no tenths here. This would be 2 whole, that's my whole number, and here's my decimal, 0 in the tenths, and 7 in the hundreds. This 0 is because there is no number in the tens place in front of the 7. Say, what if it were 37 hundredths? Then I would write 2 and 37 hundredths. But because that 3 is not there, it's just 2 and 7 hundredths. All right, guys, good luck today on your IXL work.